Well, good morning. It's February 23rd. Matt, I see you've been out flying your $30 million jet today.
Yeah, gotta check out all the snow we got.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, we're in the seasonal part of the market. Winter is almost over, I
hmm
hope. Um, what are you seeing in terms of price inventory in Saratoga County?
You know what's really cool is that I remember talking to you, I think in the fall, we were talking about that seasonal change and cyclical change.
Yeah.
Now we're on the other end, right? So I think buyers are coming out of their little cave and then now they got to go back and shovel.
I want to come out of my cave.
But people are awakening. So you're starting to see, the market open up with open houses getting busy, inventory is still down. So, there's a lot of activity out there for the right homes. And I just wanted to go over, say, Boston Spa, for example, and we
Okay.
have a median list price of 333. So 300,000, 33. And actually the median price of new listings is the same. So it's staying level. You're not seeing a decrease in new listing prices, meaning that the market's falling.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing a huge increase. So that's
I
kind of
think
cool
that's
to
really
see.
important. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think that's really important to. I think there is a narrative out there that home prices are falling and they're falling
Mhm.
dramatically, and that's why I'm the data geek, and
Yeah.
so you just said you were talking about Boston Spa, uh,
hmm
which is a great community, right? Lots of
hmm
jobs here, very stable, and you're saying that both the median house price and the new listing price is stable.
Correct. Whereas if we look at Saratoga, or I'm looking at like Clifton Park right now, median list price is very high.
Yeah.
But then the median price of new listings is going down. Now there's other factors we'd have to drill in to see
Yeah.
why, but that can affect, and that's what information, buyers should know and sellers should know when heading out and looking at houses is what is the market doing?
Yeah.
Do I have competition as a buyer or do I not? If I'm selling and my house isn't moving in 43 days here, then something's going on with the price.
Yeah,
So
and I can tell you, I hit open houses virtually every weekend, and you're absolutely right with that. The traffic, and I always, when I walk in and I talk to an agent, they kind of look at me like, "What the heck are you doing here?" And I'm like, "Well, this is my job, one part of my job," and I've seen over 5,000 open houses in my life, and
I,
that's more than any realtor. I'll
it makes
guarantee
it
it.
super informative. And then people and you know what's going on in the market. It's
Yeah, and
awesome.
I can tell you that you're absolutely right that the amount of traffic, it actually was the key thing was the Super Bowl, believe it or not.
hmm
You saw a really large jump in traffic at open houses after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think we had
Yeah.
like warm weekends. It was super busy when I was out. Like driveways were full, and it was just getting flooded. And I think that brings up my next point of I'm looking at median rent of what 1963.
Yep,
Uh,
that's the number, by the way.
yeah, so if open houses are that busy, rent seems a little high. I still have people calling me that aren't pre-approved or working with a lender yet and wanting to go see houses or
No,
rent. So
the answer is no.
can you give me a quick, spiel of saying like how long it takes to get a hold of you and to run a quick, pre-approval?
Well, it all depends on the buyer. I always say this. Get that question a lot, by the way. Uh, it depends on the buyer and the client. If you have a client who's aggressive and
hmm
wants to do it, it's literally, you can fill out an application. We have all the technological tools that you want. You can fill out an app in literally six minutes, say.
Yeah. So if
I
you're,
send you a link, it's secure, your information is not getting stolen or anything like that. And,
Mhm.
it takes me a minute to run credit, it takes me maybe 5 minutes to review it. You can, then I've got to do an income analysis depending on, what your income looks like. If you're a W-2 employee, it's fairly simple. If you're
Mhm.
self-employed, it'll take a little longer, but I can get a bare bones out certainly within a day.
Yeah.
If I have a client who is serious now, right?
Mhm.
And I want to buy a house, and that motivation's got to be there. You can't manufacture that for the client.
Mhm.
Um, but if they, get on their phone, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer. We're in the 21st century here.
Yeah.
You can have it over. I get it immediately, and we can work on it that day. I mean, it's not that. I do think people think it can be a harder process than it is,
And
and
that
it
and
can
that's what I
be.
hear. Yeah, is
It
people
can
think
be,
it's longer.
but it shouldn't be. And I think the real key there is who's doing the review on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so some of these online companies, which are getting fewer and fewer, um, they, it's a lot of, it may be someone who's inexperienced. It may be artificial intelligence, which isn't asked, which, by the way, what a great, oxymoron that is, right? And it's going to take over, right? We're in the beginning stages of a revolution of that, but there are limitations to that. You know,
Or
there's
does it cover your local market? I think that's
doesn't cover the
super.
local market, and also there's just, I mean, when you talk to a client, or they're filling out an application, there's a conversation that needs to happen, and a computer can certainly do a good job of a certain uh, good job of evaluating information, but there's things it's not going to. You have to ask the questions. I'll give you an example. A self-employed person.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask a self-employed person what their income is, they're going to give you what their revenue was.
Yeah.
That's the top line.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's how much they think they made. And yeah, that was your revenue.
Mm-hmm.
But when they go to fill their tax return out, they're going to take all the expenses out, right? I mean, that's one of the benefits of being self-employed. Well, the funny thing is banks don't go off the top line.
Mm-hmm.
They go off the bottom line.
Yep.
So if you're starting out evaluating bad information right away, you're just not. You're just going to end up being incorrect. And then you've got a guy out there who's looking for a $400,000 house when in fact, when they really run the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
he may be a 2.25. And so he goes out, gets in a contract with you. You guys spend 2 weeks looking for the house. It's an emotional thing. They're emotionally invested.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone actually takes a look at it. And
Yeah.
then they ask the questions. And now you've got a client that is angry, and I think justifiably so. You've got a realtor who's angry and justifiably so. And you've got somebody who's making $15 an hour at the online bank on, well, yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
another great example of that, I'm a vet, and I love vets. They're my favorite people to work with. There is a very well-known credit union. You'll see them advertise on TV a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And I actually I'm a member. I bought my wife's wedding ring with a loan from that bank 30 some odd years ago. They suck at mortgage loans because they don't even ask for any documentation until you're in contract.
Wow. Yeah.
You know how many times I've gotten a phone call saying, "Hey, I was told I was qualified by this credit union,"
Mm-hmm.
and then they actually look at the income documentation. They go like, "Oh, it's not what we thought it was."
Yeah. I ran into someone like that a few months ago, and they needed more income docs, and I was like, "We are so far in the process. This
Yeah,
is this is a big company too." So.
yeah.
It's
No, I mean, and this is, I mean, honestly, I love the credit union. I'm a member,
mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't send anybody there for a to get a loan because they just don't do their job up front. So important thing with pre-approvals is that it's a real pre-approval. It's not a pre-qual. You actually get your credit pulled. You actually see the income, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have that conversation, which we always talk about. My most important question is, what do you want your budget to be?
Yep.
And then let's go find that house that fits that, not the
Well,
other way around. So
yeah, and I think I just want to put that out there. So I'm still getting calls. I got more yesterday. People aren't pre-approved, haven't looked at anything, and then want to go see a house, and I just think that's totally backwards.
I wouldn't. If I was a realtor, a responsible, professional realtor won't take someone out in a car at, what is it, $4 a gallon, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and your time, which is valuable, and the emotional. I think this often gets, which is really weird because I'm supposed to be the unemotional guy, right? But buyers get so invested as soon as they get in that car.
Mm-hmm.
and they're looking at homes and they see the lovely 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with granite countertops and a motivated seller, and they just get excited because, and they should be, because it should be a great experience, and yet they're not really ready to take that step.
Yeah, I don't
And
think
maybe
we
that
should.
house they're seeing they can't afford, or they don't want to afford.
Totally agree.
So go call a lender. It's painless.
Well, thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I just think it's important if you want to be prepared and win in this market right now. You know, we have multiple buyers at houses because we have low inventory. You need to be prepared, and it's going to set you up for success. And then knowing that there might be other people making offers that aren't pre-approved. Imagine knowing that you're all set up. When both those agents get together, they know that you're a good client and you'll win that house.
Yeah,
So,
because I always call, right? I call
so
on every listing, every contract that goes out, offer that goes out. I call the listing agent.
mhm.
It's I get copied on the offer. You make that call, and I call,
Awesome.
introduce myself, and say, hey, look, this is what I've done. This is the work I've done.
And I love that communication.
We are going to close this loan. It's
Mhm.
going to be painless on the loan side for you and your seller, because again, you got to think they have a lot riding on that.
And that's not normal. So I just want people to realize that
Cool.
kind of care is great. So
Awesome. Well, I
thanks.
am going to go plow my driveway
All right. Have
so I
fun.
can actually get out and do things. So have a great week. And I'll talk to you next week. All right.
All right. See you, Tim.
See you, Matt.